Hello, welcome back to the Toffee Blues. It's your source for all things Everton. I'm James Pendleton and I'm here to talk about Everton's 1-0 win over Arsenal yesterday at Goodison Park. Everton's first win of 2023. Everton's first win since before the World Cup. Everton's first win since October. Just Everton's fourth win all season. Just the bad stats keep tumbling, but thank God that wait is over. I didn't realise how long it had been since we could celebrate a win, and for it to come against the league leaders who, at the end of the day, if we'd beaten Liverpool or City over the last couple of years, you would have said, wow, that is an incredible result. And really yesterday's was. Arsenal have been, only a step or two behind them in terms of quality this season, in terms of points, in terms of how far ahead of the league they are. They've just been magnificent, and the team they rocked up to Goodison yesterday I thought was a super strong lineup. It was pretty much first choice other than probably Jesus, but Nketiah scored 7 goals in his last 8 games, I think the stat was. So we really had to dig deep to get that win yesterday, and I thought we were absolutely fantastic. So we're going to touch on the game slightly, and then we'll come on to some player ratings. But yeah, still smiling. Voice was absolutely wrecked yesterday. I woke up this morning sounding like Sean Dyche, but that's fine. It was just fantastic. It was everything I wanted from Sean Dyche's first game in charge. Blood and thunder, dogs of war, team working hard. But it wasn't just like, I'm not slagging Duncan Ferguson off, but it wasn't just like when we played Chelsea, and that felt like largely it was kind of like, come on, get up for this kind of thing. Like the players were working really hard. Obviously, there was some tactical nuance in there. He brought Tom Davies on towards the end of the game, which ended up getting us the win pretty much, packing up the midfield, playing him further forward. There were tactical things in Duncan Ferguson's performance as manager, but that felt like a new manager bounce in terms of the fellas coming and motivated the team, and that was kind of the large part of what he did. This felt like, he's come in, he's motivated the team, but this just felt like a tactical setup, a tactical masterclass, if you like. And I just felt Everton from minute one were never out of control of that game. Arsenal, I think, struggled throughout the match. Arsenal could never get into a proper rhythm. They created quite little, I think, when you think about it, in terms of clear-cut opportunities. The closest they came was obviously Saka with a volley, which was deflected and cleared off the line, but that would have been quite a good goal if it had gone in, to be fair. And then Nketiah, I don't know whether that would have come back to be for a free kick or a foul just beforehand anyway. And that was pretty much it, whereas, again, not slagging off Frank Lampard, but the big wins have got under him. You remember Arsenal, Ronaldo, they scored right at the end against Chelsea. They hit both posts, and Pickford made the save of the season, as examples of games where we held on. And even this season against West Ham, a really big win where we played all right. West Ham at the post right in the last minute of the game. Things like that in terms of, it felt like we rode our luck in some big games recently. But yesterday, okay, it was nervy, obviously. I jumped up when Morpay won that free kick right at the end, like I was celebrating a goal, because it was like the relief of knowing that they're not going to get the ball near our box. But I think any Arsenal fan with the head screwed on yesterday knows that Everton deserved to win that game, and Arsenal couldn't get going. And that's not just because they didn't play particularly well, because Everton didn't let them play well, didn't have it all their own way, and I just loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and anyone who was worried about what Sean Dyche was going to bring to Everton, what kind of football we play, anything like that, you really needn't worry, I don't think, in terms of that was just effective football at its finest, and I just love watching it. So absolutely made up. Really, really pleased for all the players, obviously, but in particular Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Thought he was fantastic for the hour he was on. We'll come on to him in the player ratings, but players like him, Tarkowski, Seamus Coleman, Onana, for players like that I was super delighted for. I was just really pleased with how yesterday went, and you can't wipe the smile off my face at the minute. So super happy. At the minute, Leeds are playing Forest, or Forest playing Leeds rather. I think Forest are winning 1-0 at half time. Dyche and Womer at the game, which is obviously nice to see. Working hard. I'm not saying other managers haven't done that. I know it's very common business, but it is just nice to see someone going down to the game. And I know he's at a lot of Forest games anyway, but yeah, I just like it. It's around as what David Moyes used to do, and you used to always see it on the telly, and you used to always think, yeah, I'm glad he's looking ahead to the games here. So just a small thing like that, and that's what the last 24 hours have been really with Sean Dyche. The small things that he's just gotten right, spot on. But again, we'll come on to him in the player rating. So we'll start with Jordan Pickford in goal. I think when you keep a clean sheet, you're probably rocking about a 7 normally anyway. So I'll give him a 7.5. I don't think he had much to do, to be fair. He made, I think, 1 diving save, but even that was straight at him, really. He relieved the pressure a couple of times with a punch or a catch, and yeah, I thought he was good. 7.5 I think is probably fair, because he had a couple of really poor kicks which could have backfired, but thankfully they didn't. But yeah, he was fine. There's really not much more you can say. I think if a goalie keeps a clean sheet and doesn't have much to do, you're looking at small things that kind of bump up his rating. So 7.5, I'll go. I think that's fair enough. Seamus Coleman, I've gone for an 8.5. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. To get Gabriel Martinelli subbed off after 75 minutes, whatever it was, 65 minutes maybe. He couldn't get any spare change out of Seamus Coleman, and on the rare occasion when he did, Tarkowski was there, or maybe Cody rather, Gay, Iwobi, they were all there. I didn't think Martinelli got much service, to be fair. I think a lot of balls were chasing down dark alleys, and he was, there's a couple of times in the first half where he's just running into the stand, and it's like, we are running them out of town here a little bit, but rolling back the years, Seamus Coleman, 33, 34 years old now. The problem is, normally when he plays quite well like that, he doesn't quite do it the next game, but hopefully he does against Liverpool. But I thought he was absolutely exemplary yesterday. Tackling, wasting time, getting forward, should have had an assist. Cavalier comes close with a header. I just thought he was brilliant, and it was great to see, really. So, and as I say, I'm made up for Seamus Coleman. He's not very... it's, a bit like what Dyche was like at the end of the game. It's not about him, but when he ran over to the Gladys Street, showing the badge, it reminded me a little bit of Leeds last season when he scored, and he was just so emotional. That's the kind of player he is, but yeah, I was just made up for him. I thought he was really good yesterday, and against Martinelli, he made him look very ordinary. So next to him, Conor Cody, I've gone for an 8. Again, I think pretty much everyone's a 7 minimum, because I think that's kind of, you always say, don't you, if a player plays well, it's a 7 out of 10. So I think everyone's a minimum 7. It's just little things. So I think Cody blocking that one on the line, absolutely fantastic. The fella I sit next to the match actually said he wasn't sure if he'd take him, to be fair, at the end of the season for the fee, and then he blocked that off the line. I was like, yeah, you're gonna have him now type thing. But yeah, that was excellent. I felt he marshalled the defence really well. He made a couple of huge tackles, especially in the second half. I think he's a good defender. I like him, and I think he's a proper leader as well, which at the start of the season we were putting a lot of credit towards, and then things started going poorly, and I still think he was one of the ones stepping up a little bit, but I think we kind of saw that we were in such a bad place under Lampard that it maybe couldn't shine through. But I think he did really well yesterday. A couple of really poor kicks out from the back where he was maybe trying to stop again off for a throw-in or whatever, or he's panicking a little bit. You'll need to obviously nip that in the bud, because it could have been costly, but the whole team worked together. Someone makes a little mistake like that, people were stepping in. So James Tarkowski, I'll go for an 8.5. I think more or less the same as Cody. I think you can see, certainly in the first half, when they were attacking the Gladys Street end and it was a lot closer to where I'm sat, I was like, you can tell this lad's played under Sean Dyche for years, because there were so many times where we were so compact and they were trying to play through, and he's just there sticking a foot out, sticking a leg out. He knows that avenue's there. He knows you can close that down. He does it. I mean, he gets the ball and passes it out. Cool as you like. I thought he was very good, and to cap it off with a goal is brilliant for him. His first goal for Everton. I had no idea he'd scored until Graham White announced it on the system. It just went crazy when you seen the ball coming into the net, and they're the best kind of goals. Then you don't know who scored. I really couldn't tell you who I thought it was either, to be fair. I just knew it wasn't McNeil or Coleman, probably the only two I could rule out, really, to be fair. But yeah, so I was made up for him. He's been good this season for us, I think we can all agree. You can see a bit of the Dyche voice coming through, but he has been good, and yeah, I hope he's going to be really good under Sean Dyche. Mykolenko, I'm going to give him same as Seamus Coleman, an 8.5. I think Bukayo Saka, unless I'm forgetting anyone, is the best right winger in the Premier League at the minute, and if you're doing overall, is it probably only Mo Salah who's better than him? I might be forgetting someone, but it doesn't really matter. The point being is Bukayo Saka's a very good player, and I felt Mykolenko made him look very ordinary for most of the game. Even when it looked like he beat him, he sticks a foot in or he sticks a leg out, and that's the kind of warrior performance I love from Mykolenko, and I think because he's not got that licence to properly go forward, we're seeing less of his shortcomings. We saw less of his shortcomings yesterday anyway, so I thought he was excellent, and I was again really pleased with him because he had a bit of stick last few weeks. People want to bring Vinagre in, but I thought Mykolenko was really good yesterday, so I was pleased with him. Alex Iwobi, I've given him an 8. I thought he was good. He won the corner for the goal. Great bit of play down the right to play the ball to Seamus Coleman, who then whips it in for Calvert-Lewin in the first half where we nearly score. He worked hard. He's not a proper dog of war. He's not someone I'd love in the trenches with me in terms of proper going at a team, but I felt he was better with that yesterday. He gave the energy, and yeah, I was pleased for him because again, a bit like Mykolenko, I think he had a bit of credit really, but he's had a bit of a stick recently, so I was pleased with him to put in a good performance, and I thought he did well for us. Amadou Onana, see it coming through again there, absolutely unbelievable yesterday, 9 out of 10. Everton's man of the match without a doubt for my money. I thought he was brilliant. It's just, I think you're talking about what Sean Dyche brought at Burnley. He never had a player like Amadou Onana from what I can think. Someone who's leggy, someone who can get the ball and carry it. He's now got 2 of them really with him and Decore in terms of central players anyway, but I think he's just going to be perfect for him because you talk about countering and getting forward. Amadou Onana can bring you that, and when he nicks the pocket of Ben White and Ødegaard and he's within 2 strides in a different postcode to Ødegaard, it was fantastic. And I watched the replay. I've watched the replay rather 4 or 5 times. I don't know how Calvert-Lewin doesn't score. It's inches away, but he was brilliant. The one where he'd already been booked and he goes on a big run, Saliba comes across. I thought Saliba played really well for Arsenal, to be fair, but then Onana puts in a brilliant slide tackle, wins the ball back, and then wins as a throw in, and then he's given it all to the stand again. It's just brilliant. And I think he had wound me up. I think it was against Wolves when he was given the whole get the crowd up sort of thing, and I'm like, you've really been average today, Onana, do you know what I mean? And it's like, if you're playing well, you can kind of give it that a little bit, but if you've, like everyone else, been a bit lacklustre, I'm not too big a fan. But no, I thought he did really well yesterday, and I think he's going to be brilliant for Sean Dyche. Moving on, Idrissa Gana Gueye, 8.5. I think there's a lot of 8.5s here because I think everyone was just really good, but Idrissa Gueye, I think you talk about protecting the V in Sean Dyche's system, and I just think he's perfect for that. Again, how many players did he have like that at Burnley who were just really good at nipping in, winning the play? I know they had players who could do similar jobs, but I can't think of many, if any, players like him who were proper nuisances in terms of winning the ball back. And even then, he was getting forward a little bit. He had a good shot which was deflected and really well saved by Ramsdale. Obviously it wouldn't have counted, but nice to see him getting forward as well, just nicking in. Again, he was brilliant at relieving the pressure when the going got tough in the second half. And again, he's not the only one. I think you can say this for most players, but he's had stick recently, more so. Some players have had stick for a bit longer, some maybe Pickford or whoever have had a bit more credit. But I thought again he was absolutely amazing against West Ham earlier this season, and I think that's his best performance since then. So just Gana Gueye, fantastic, and then another 8.5 next to him for Abdoulaye Doucouré. From out of the dark into the light for him, really. He looked like his Everton career was over, and I didn't really care. But I think this last year where he hasn't, because he's technically limited, he's played really poorly under Lampard, I felt. But yesterday, that was the Abdoulaye Doucouré who me and my friends always refer to as Big Ab, because he was just brilliant. Striding forward, getting the ball, winning it back. Again, his passing, it's limited. He's not great on the ball, but he is one of the better midfielders in the Premier League at picking the ball up and running with it 30 yards and driving forward and driving the team on. He is really good at that. And I just hope now that he's someone Sean Dyche can trust. So I'm really pleased to have that at core. And I think you saw at the end of the game, him and a couple of players hit the deck. And I felt he deserved all the plaudits he got at the end of the game, especially for the manager as well, which was nice to see. So 8.5 for him. I know I said Onana would be man of the match on a 9, but I'm going to give Dwight McNeil a 9. I thought he was brilliant yesterday, I really did. He worked so hard for Everton. He had a shot at the early part of the game. I couldn't tell whether Ramsdale saved or whether it just bobbled towards Calvert-Lewin, but he did alright in the first half, but in the second half, puts the corner in for the goal. And just every time he got the ball, he was so direct, getting down the line and trying to get a crossing. And he put in a couple of really good balls, which maybe we didn't take the best or the most use of. but he also won some corners. Again, he helped alleviate the pressure. I thought he worked really hard yesterday, and he told my players who've had a bit of stick recently, who've turned it around. He's had stick most of this season, and I thought he was excellent yesterday. Really pleased for him. And all of a sudden this season, I think he's got 2 goals and 2 assists maybe. All of a sudden, in terms of the numbers, his season's looking all right. He just needed now performance-wise every week. So Dwight McNeil, I thought was really good yesterday. I feel like I'm saying about every player, but it's true. And then finally, Don Calvert-Lewin, I'll give him an 8. I thought, considering he only played an hour, I felt Saliba had him all ends up first 5-10 minutes, and then after that, he didn't win every battle with him, but he really gave him a good go. He had that one in the second half just before he went off where it might actually be one as the corner. I can't quite remember, but was it? I can't quite remember, but where he nicks the pocket of Saliba and drives it 30 yards forward. Fantastic, kicking him, shoving him, moving him, making it a really tough game for one of the best centre backs in the Premier League this season. I thought he did really well. Came off after the goal. He looked absolutely knackered, I thought, but good of Sean Dyche to be able to bring him off. That is something that Lampard didn't have the I can't think of the word, but the liberty of taking him off. That's not the word I'm looking for, but he didn't have that kind of ability to do that because we weren't winning many games. But that's obviously a large part of that is down to Lampard. So, but yeah, I felt he was really good, winning flick-ons, winning headers. Another day he gets the goal, and hopefully he saved them all up for Monday. So yeah, and finally Neil Maupay, the only sub he made. I'm going to give him a 7. I think it's harsh playing one below a 7. Did he do a great deal on the ball? No, but he's up against 2 massive centre backs and he's 5'6", and just running around kicking people. I love it. I think he closed the game out for us by getting involved with Zinchenko. How on earth Arsenal came away with a free kick from that, by the way, which was taken about 15 yards further and wider from the touchline, but how that happened I'll never know. But just getting in their face. I know he hates Arsenal, I know Arsenal can't stand him either. Just winning free kicks, kicking people, shoving people, making them hard to get the ball away. That's the Neil Maupay I thought we were signing. No one who could do that, but then obviously score a wonder goal down the other end, or toward the goal anyway. I thought he was hilarious when he came on, to be honest with you. He just brought him on to kick people, and that's fine by me if that's what he's going to be under Sean Dyche. I hope he gets a bit of a strike partnership with Calvert-Lewin or Sims or whoever, but I thought he came on yesterday, and considering he was given little to work with, I thought he did well, and yeah, I think it'd be a bit harsh to give him anything below a 7, to be fair. So they're my ratings anyway. Obviously absolutely made up with the performance yesterday. Massive game against Liverpool coming up, but I think we can hopefully now start looking up towards, getting ourselves out of this mess, because thankfully we've stayed in touch somehow, and getting cut adrift just wasn't an option. So tough few weeks. I think February is going to be a defining month for us, but if we can keep racking up the points, then obviously that's going to give us the best chance of getting out of this mire. So anyway, thanks very much for watching Toffee Blues. Make sure you drop us a subscribe and a like, and let us know your thoughts down below. And yeah, thanks very much.